channel. If it's your first time here, welcome. And if it's not, then welcome back. So I am following a high carb, low fat, oil-free, plant-based diet based on the recommendations by Dr. John McDougall's book, The Starch Solution. My channel is not just about my weight loss journey, but it's also about helping you with yours. So if you'd like to follow along my plant-based weight loss journey, or you just like to follow along for recipes and all my tips and tricks that I'm learning along the way, then be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos. And if you want even more inspiration or looking for guidance or just somewhere to vent, be sure to join us in my Facebook group, which you can find the link posted in the description box below. Okay, so why am I doing a juicing video? Juicing is not technically part of the starch solution. Fair enough. Well, my last two videos that I put out, I shared my personal story about how I cured my mystery illness that the doctors just could not figure out. And I truly believe that juicing was the main part of my healing. I wasn't able to tolerate a lot of food. Things such as beans, grains, greens, even fruit caused me to have extreme bloating, nausea, among many, many other symptoms. If you want to learn more about my story, then be sure to check out my last two videos. There is a part 1 and a part 2. I will post the links in the description box below, so be sure to check that out. You'll feel like you get to know me a little bit better, and it will also make more sense why I'm doing this juicing video. Guys, I continue to be touched by all of your encouraging comments and all of the stories you all have taken the time to share with me about what you're suffering with or what your struggles have been. And there has been quite the demand for a juicing video to show you guys what I did, what I'm still doing, that I feel made me heal my condition as well as keeps me healthy to this day. Okay, so just two quick things I wanted to touch on just before we get started with the juicing. It's just that I wanted to stress this was not a juice fast that I did. This was just daily juicing, which simply means that all I did was add juicing into my daily diet. I didn't use it as a meal replacement. I just added as many juices as I could in a day for the nutritional benefit of juicing. At that time, I was really struggling to digest any foods, and with juicing, there is no digestion. It's just automatically absorbed. So I found that that was the way that I could get my nutrition in since I was struggling really, really bad with my diet. And another thing I wanted to touch on was that I'm talking about green juicing, not about juicing a whole bunch of fruits. We're talking about vegetable juicing. So again, that word is interchangeable to say green juicing or vegetable juicing. So when we say green juicing, it doesn't mean that we're juicing a whole head of kale. It just means that we're doing vegetable juicing. So carrots, peppers, cucumbers, all of that would be considered green juicing or vegetable juicing to me. And I know there's a lot of controversy over juicing, to juice, to not to juice, the sugar spikes. I know, I've seen it all, I've heard it all as well. So all I'm going to say is this, is that there are many schools of thought when it comes to nutrition. For every person that says yes to one way of eating, doctor, scientist, study, whatever, you can easily do a Google search and find another person saying the exact opposite, which is also a doctor, scientist, whatever. And that's why health and nutrition and our diets can feel so overwhelming sometimes because it's hard to decide who's right, who's wrong. So in my situation, I know what worked for me. I am not a doctor. I am not a medical professional. I am not advising you to do the same thing that I did. All I am doing today is just sharing my experience, what was true for me, what worked for me, and hope that maybe it will inspire some of you to do some research for yourself and help you discover something that could possibly be beneficial to you. Okay, so now that all the disclaimers are out of the way, let's get juicing. Okay guys, so I'm just gonna start by showing you some of the ingredients that we will be using in today's juices. So I've got some organic spinach here, some fresh mint. The fresh mint, let me tell you, that makes a juice so good if you like spearmint. We have some organic lemon, organic apples, organic carrots, some organic ginger, beets, organic celery, organic kale, and organic arugula. Okay, so let's jump into it. So first, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the juicer, but I apologize for the lighting. It seems every single time it's film day, we have the grayest, darkest, wintry type days. So I really apologize that the lighting kind of sucks right now. So as I mentioned in my other videos, it was the Breville juicer that I used to heal myself. So since then, I've given that juicer to my sister, and I have this one here. Again, it is a Breville juicer. All right, so you guys can see it. I can't say enough about these juicers. I am not sponsored by them to say anything, but I will always promote them. I just find that they are the most budget-friendly juicers on the market. Sure, there's other ones that are probably better, but if you're looking to just get started with juicing, these run about $120 to $200 or so, which is great considering the quality of the juicer. I've had this one, I've had my other one, and I've had one before that even, and they all work fine. I've just kind of dispersed them throughout my family so everybody has a juicer. But they really, really work. And I mean, I used it all the time and it never burned out. So I cannot say enough about the Breville juicer. So a couple of things I want to mention before we start juicing is that to always make sure you wash your produce very, very well before you juice. And things like apples and carrots, if they are organic, you do not have to peel them. In fact, it's better if you don't peel them. There's a lot of nutrition that lays right underneath the skin, so it's better to not, but if they are non-organic, then do peel them. Also, I like to juice beets a lot. You do have to be careful with beets because they are so powerful that you can overdo it. So as you can see, this is a really, really small beet. If it was a larger beet, I would just cut maybe a quarter of a beet or half of a beet. They're very, very healing. They're excellent if you are low in iron. Oh, quick side story. I have always suffered with really low iron. At one point, I was almost off the charts. It was crazy. So I've been told that I have to take an iron supplement for the rest of my life. Well, I learned that juicing beets can actually raise your iron levels. So I had juiced beets almost every single day for about 3 months, not just beet juice alone, mixed with other things. I'll get into that after. But when I went back to the doctors and got my blood work taken, my iron levels had rose so much. I was still low, but I was normal low for once. It had jumped. I can't remember now what the number was. This is going back even about 2 years or so, or maybe a year ago. I can't remember the exact numbers, but my jaw was on the floor. I could not believe how high my iron levels were, and I could feel it. Anyone who suffers with low iron, you know what I'm talking about. When your iron is low, you know it. So, and likewise, when it's up, you also can feel that. My energy was just out of the roof. My iron levels have been great ever since. So that worked for me. Again, not a medical professional, but that's just a side bit of information. That was also something I had some success with. Forgot to mention, peel your beets. Crazy disgusting if you don't, so make sure they're peeled. So I got to talk about ginger a little bit too. It's a great anti-inflammatory. It's great for digestive health, great for nausea. I always made ginger teas and I always included ginger in my juice. So one quick tip is if you're juicing organic ginger, it is much stronger than just the regular ginger at the grocery store. So if you're juicing organic, you need just half the amount compared to the non-organic ginger. So I usually used about 1 inch or so of the non-organic and maybe about ½ an inch of the organic stuff. Trust me, the stuff is very, very powerful. Okay, so lemons. As you can see here, I've got 2 halves that I peeled, but as you can see, I left a lot of the white on. I think it's called the pith of the lemon. That's where a lot of the nutrients are stored in the lemon, so you want to keep as much of the white stuff on. You can also do about half of a lemon to a quarter of a lemon. It's just based on what you think you can handle, acidity-wise or flavor-wise. So for greens, I usually always used kale in my juices, but I also love spinach, arugula. You can mix it up. Even romaine lettuce is fantastic. It's really high in the water content, so it does yield a lot of juice. But feel free to mix up your greens. They're all good. They all provide different nutrients. And the other thing worth mentioning about the greens is that you always want to start with them first. I found that when I put them in the chute before I even turn on the juicer, I just kind of scrunch them all down, that they end up juicing a lot better than if I throw them in halfway throughout the juice. Another thing worth mentioning, and if this doesn't tell you how powerful and healing that greens can be, is that it can actually make you sick if you juice too many. So don't be juicing a whole bag of kale thinking more is better, because more is not better in this case, and it can actually cause you some trouble. So the rule of thumb is kind of you want to have about 25% greens to 75% everything else. So we're talking about cucumbers, celery, apples, beets, peppers, sweet potatoes, cranberries. There's lots of other things that you can juice. So you want to just make sure that your dark leafy greens only make up about 25% of that. And if you're wondering where I've gained most of my information regarding juicing, I've learned most of it from Linda Kordich, which she is the wife of Jay Kordich, and he was the original juice man You can find his videos on YouTube, I believe, as well. And I can also link the Facebook group to Linda Kordich. She's kind of taken over. Sadly, Jay has passed away, but he was such a man of information in the juicing world. He was one of the first ones, so that kind of brought it to the mainstream. So I have learned so much from Linda and Jay, such a wealth of information. So you can certainly Google Linda Kordich or Jay Kordich to find out some of their YouTube videos. Or like I said, I can also link Linda's Facebook group in the description box below. Okay, someone seriously needs to shut me up because I can seriously talk about juicing forever. So let's get to the juice. All right, so I'm just gonna start off by showing you how easy it is to quickly put together a juicer. Now keep in mind that all juicers are designed differently, but generally speaking, they're not too hard. So this is just the base of the juicer and it's just gonna click in just like that. And then this here is the basket. This is the part that the fruits and vegetables get pushed through. So you just clip it in like that and it spins. This part will be spinning very, very fast once the juicer is turned on. And then you just put the top on here, click it on like so. There's a safety lock there, snaps in, and that's it. This part is the part that we push the fruits and vegetables down the chute. So as you can see, there's just grooves and it just kind of clicks in like that. You'll be pushing it down. And then here is the container that will collect the juice. There's a little hole right here. As you can see, it's barely worn down. I wasn't lying when I told you guys I juice a lot, but it just slips right in there under the nozzle and you're ready to go. So it's that simple, guys. It takes about 30 seconds to throw together. Okay guys, so we're gonna start by using some kale and arugula in this juice. We're going to start with putting about one handful or 1 cup of kale. Again, this is the chopped and washed, I did wash it again, but the chopped and washed organic kale. So another big handful, put it in like that. I always put it in the chute first before I even turn the juicing machine on, just because I feel like that I get the most green juice. So I'm gonna put about half of a handful. So we'll say like 2.5 cups or 2.5 handfuls. And next we're gonna put our arugula in, just a big handful of that. Keep in mind, arugula has a bit of a spicy flavor, so we're not gonna put in quite as much. But as you can see, I've got my greens ready to go in the chute. Now, whenever you juice your greens, you always wanna pair it with something that is juicy, something that has a high water content. This is a tiny little organic apple, so I'm just gonna pop that in there. But you could mix that with cucumber, celery, carrots, pineapple, anything that has a high water content to help get the juice out of the greens. So we're just gonna start with those 2 things. So first your greens, and then whatever juicy fruit or vegetable you're putting with it. Now for the fun part. We are going to push this puppy down. All right, it's gonna be a little bit loud, but here we go. All that green juice coming out. That's where the magic is. So it yielded about 15 to 16 ounces of juice. So, sorry, you can probably hear my son in the background. All right, here we go. I'm going to give it a taste and see how the taste test goes. Yeah, not bad. I taste a lot of the lemon and the ginger in it, and it just tastes fresh. Definitely not sweet, but definitely not too earthy either. I don't really taste a ton of the greens. Just really fresh, really, really fresh. It's good. Okay, so that's juice number 1. And I will post the recipe in the description box below, what we just did today, if you want to try it out for yourself. So let's get to recipe number 2. Okay, so for our second juice, we are going to be using spinach and fresh mint as our greens. So just going to be starting off by putting the greens down the chute. So there's about 1 cup or 1 handful. I would say use about 2 to 3 cups of spinach for this recipe. And then I use about 1 cup of the fresh mint, or 1 handful. And honestly, the mint is what makes this recipe here. It is so fragrant and so delicious. So you can test that out for yourself and use as much or as little mint as you like. And again, we're gonna be adding an apple just because it does have a higher water content, so it's gonna help push those greens through. So we are ready to get started. So we'll put that in first, and here we go. All that green, oh my goodness, I can smell the mint. It smells so, so, so good. All right, so what do we got? Oh my gosh, it yielded like the exact same amount as the other one. So we've got about 15 or 16 ounces of juice here. So I'll just give that a little swirl. And again, if you want more, you can just juice more. You could add other things. So there's no hard rules. You can throw in some celery stalks or a cucumber and add it to the recipe that I'm providing you. So there is no really right or wrong when it comes to the vegetables. So here we go. Gorgeous color from the beets. There's our green juice pouring in there, as you can see. Okay, and we will give it a taste test. That is good. Very, very good. It actually tastes so good that you could have this just for a juice to enjoy, not even about health benefits. It's really good, and I'm telling you, the fresh mint is everything. It just makes a juice so, so, so delicious. And again, I just want to mention there's some controversy even over using carrots because of the high sugar content, or beets because of the high sugar content. I don't know. All I can say, this is what I've done, and it took me from being a very sick woman to a very healthy one. So I'm gonna leave it there. That's all I can say, is that it worked for me. As for you guys, you might want to check with your doctor or a medical professional to be sure that it's safe for you. But I hope that this has inspired you, and I really hope that you give it a try. It's actually very, very, very delicious. My kids love the juicing. Sometimes with the juices with my children, I actually mix the juice in with some frozen fruit. If it's a little on the green side, then I just pour the green juice over some frozen strawberries or mangoes or something like that. And that's another way that the kids can get it in. So I think moving forward, since there was so much interest in the juicing, I will try to incorporate some of my what I eat in a days to have some of my juicing involved in that. That way you guys can get different recipes and see what I do as far as my daily juicing goes. All right guys, so I hope this video helped you. I hope you have a little bit of a better understanding about juicing. If you have any questions for me, be sure to leave them in the comments and I will do my best to get back to them. And of course, if you want to see even more juicing videos or get some more recipes, then let me know that as well. So thank you very much guys for watching. As always, I appreciate you. Be sure to hit subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and we will see you in the next one.